Dodge Charger. The Dodge Charger is more than just a car, it is an icon that has managed to etch its name into the automotive history books as one of the most recognizable American muscle cars of all time. When you hear the name Dodge Charger, immediately a flood of images comes to mind, from the roaring engines of classic muscle cars cruising the streets in the 60s and 70s to modern aggressive sedans dominating highways today. The Charger carries with it a unique blend of raw power, bold styling, and cultural significance, and it has grown through multiple generations, adapting to new times yet retaining the essence that makes it so special. It is a car that speaks of performance, passion, and American automotive pride, and today we will explore it in all its depth, going back to its history, its evolution, its presence in motorsports, pop culture, and what makes it stand out in the modern age. This is a story that begins more than half a century ago, and yet continues to remain just as relevant, if not more exciting, today. When Dodge first introduced the Charger in 1966, it was their answer to a rapidly growing market for performance-oriented cars. The mid-1960s were a golden era for muscle cars, with manufacturers like Ford, Chevrolet, and Pontiac already heating up the competition. Dodge needed a strong contender that could stand toe-to-toe with legends like the Pontiac GTO and Ford Mustang, and the Charger was their ticket into this battle. The first-generation Charger was based on the Dodge Coronet but had a unique fastback roofline that gave it a sleek and sporty appeal. The interior design was also bold, featuring 4 bucket seats and a full-length console, which was quite different from the traditional bench seat setups of the time. Under the hood, the Charger offered a range of powerful V8 engines, starting from the 318 cubic inch to the mighty 426 Hemi, which would go on to become one of the most legendary engines in automotive history. This combination of style, comfort, and performance laid the foundation for what the Charger would grow into over the decades. The Charger quickly evolved, with the second generation launched in 1968. This model is often considered the golden child of the Charger lineup and is one of the most famous muscle cars ever produced. Its aggressive Coke bottle styling, hidden headlights, and muscular stance made it a design masterpiece. The 1968 Charger is the car that became immortalized in Hollywood, most notably in the film Bullitt, where it starred in one of the most legendary car chases ever filmed, alongside Steve McQueen's Ford Mustang. This movie alone elevated the Charger into pop culture stardom, and it became a dream car for generations to come. The second-generation Charger also made a huge impact in motorsports, particularly in NASCAR. With its aerodynamic design and the introduction of special models like the Charger Daytona, Dodge began to dominate on the racetrack. The Daytona, with its massive rear wing and elongated nose cone, was a product of engineering innovation that allowed it to break the 200 mph barrier, setting records and cementing Dodge's place in racing history. The Charger of this era was not just a car, it was a statement of dominance, style, and raw performance. Through the early 1970s, the Charger continued to grow in popularity, with the 1970 and 1971 models bringing even bolder styling and more powerful engine options. This was the peak of the muscle car era, and the Charger stood shoulder to shoulder with the best of them. However, the mid-1970s brought with it the oil crisis and stricter emission regulations, which began to choke the muscle car market. The Charger, like many others, had to adapt, and unfortunately, this meant downsizing performance and shifting focus toward luxury. By the late 1970s and into the 1980s, the Charger had lost much of its muscle car identity. Some models were even compact hatchbacks, which disappointed purists who remembered the glory days of the 426 Hemi-powered beasts. Yet even through these tough times, the Charger name lived on, refusing to disappear from Dodge's lineup. It became clear that the Charger was more than just a car model, it was a brand in itself, carrying heritage and recognition that Dodge could never let go of. The true revival of the Charger came in the mid-2000s when Dodge reintroduced it as a 4-door sedan. While this was a controversial move at first, since muscle car purists had always known the Charger as a 2-door coupe, the new sedan design actually opened up the Charger to a much broader market. It blended practicality with performance, making it a muscle car that families could own and enjoy as well. Underneath, Dodge gave it the heart it deserved, offering V6 options for daily drivers but keeping true to its roots by bringing back the legendary Hemi V8 engines. Models like the Charger RT and the Charger SRT8 reminded everyone that Dodge was still serious about muscle. The bold, aggressive styling, wide stance, and unmistakable front grille made the new Charger instantly recognizable on the road. This was no ordinary sedan, it was a modern muscle machine disguised with practicality, and it reignited interest in the Charger name across the world. As the years progressed, Dodge only doubled down on performance. The Charger lineup grew to include absolute monsters like the Charger Hellcat, boasting a supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi V8 that delivered over 700 horsepower. This was groundbreaking, as Dodge had managed to create the most powerful production sedan in the world, a car that could carry your family in comfort yet shred tires at the drag strip with ease. The Charger Hellcat was proof that Dodge wasn't afraid to push the boundaries of what a sedan could be, and it became a dream machine for enthusiasts who wanted both power and practicality. The wildest version came in the form of the Charger SRT Hellcat Redeye, which pushed power even further, nearing 800 horsepower, making it one of the most insane four-door cars ever built. With quarter-mile times that rival supercars and a top speed well beyond 200 miles per hour, the modern Charger solidified itself as a true king of the streets. Beyond the raw numbers, the Charger also became a cultural icon once again, just like it had in the 1960s and 70s. It appeared in countless movies, TV shows, and video games. Fans of the Fast and Furious franchise instantly recognized Dom Toretto's classic black Charger as one of the most memorable cars in cinema history. Video games like Need for Speed and Forza continue to showcase the Charger as a fan-favorite car, keeping younger generations connected to its legacy. The Charger has become a symbol of rebellion, strength, and individuality, appealing to those who want a car that makes a statement everywhere it goes. It's not just transportation, it's an experience, a lifestyle, and a way to express passion for performance. What makes the Dodge Charger particularly fascinating is its ability to adapt. From a two-door muscle coupe to a four-door family sedan, from a fuel-guzzling powerhouse to a practical daily driver, and from a NASCAR legend to a Hollywood superstar, the Charger has worn many faces over the decades. Yet in every form, it has retained that spirit of boldness and performance. It represents Dodge's commitment to standing apart in a market often filled with conformity. While other automakers chase efficiency, refinement, and subtlety, Dodge leans into loudness, aggression, and pure adrenaline. The Charger is unapologetically American, and that's exactly why it resonates with enthusiasts worldwide. Looking toward the future, the Charger is facing a new era, one where electrification is becoming the new norm. Dodge has already teased its upcoming electric muscle car concepts, and while some fans fear the loss of roaring V8 engines, others are excited to see how Dodge will translate its muscle car heritage into the world of electric performance. If there's one thing the Charger's history teaches us, it's that it can evolve with the times without losing its core identity. Whether it's powered by gasoline or electricity, the Charger will continue to embody performance, style, and cultural impact. The name itself carries too much weight and too much history to ever fade away. The Charger's story is not just about cars, it's about people. It's about the engineers who poured their creativity into designing it, the drivers who raced it to victory, the filmmakers who used it to create unforgettable scenes, and the fans who dream of owning one. It represents a bond between machine and driver that transcends generations. For some, it is a childhood dream car, for others, it is a symbol of success, and for many, it is simply an extension of their personality. Few cars manage to achieve this level of connection, and that is why the Dodge Charger remains one of the most respected and beloved cars ever made. The Charger's history through the decades is a fascinating journey, but to truly appreciate it, we need to dive deeper into what made each generation distinct and how each one reflected the automotive culture of its time. The late 1960s and early 1970s were truly a high point. The 1969 Charger, for example, refined the design of the 68 with small but meaningful changes like a split grille and new taillights, giving it an even meaner look. It was during this era that Dodge introduced the Charger Daytona, a car specifically engineered to dominate NASCAR. Its aerodynamic nose cone and massive rear wing weren't just for show, they were designed after extensive wind tunnel testing to cut through the air like no other muscle car at the time. The Daytona was so successful that it forced NASCAR to change its rules because it was simply too fast, pushing speeds beyond 200 miles per hour and leaving competitors in the dust. This made the Charger not only a muscle car icon but also a motorsport legend, forever tied to the history of professional racing. By the early 1970s, muscle cars like the Charger had become a huge part of American culture. Owning one wasn't just about driving, it was about freedom, expression, and power. The Charger was the car of choice for people who wanted to stand out, and it became a favorite among younger drivers who craved excitement. The wide variety of engines offered, from the reliable small-block version 8s to the monstrous 426 Hemi, meant there was a Charger for almost every type of driver. The Hemi especially gave the Charger a fearsome reputation. Producing around 425 horsepower in an era where most cars struggled to touch 200, it was an engine that made people respect the Dodge name. The roar of a Charger Hemi tearing down a street was a sound that defined the muscle car era. Unfortunately, the golden era couldn't last forever. By the mid-1970s, government regulations, rising fuel prices, and insurance premiums targeted muscle cars, making them harder to own and less profitable to build. The Charger began to shift toward becoming more of a personal luxury car than a hardcore muscle machine. This wasn't unique to Dodge. Many muscle cars went through the same identity crisis, but it was especially painful for fans who remembered the Charger's NASCAR dominance and Hollywood stardom. Still, Dodge kept the name alive, and while the styling and performance of the late 70s and early 80s Chargers weren't as iconic as the earlier models, they served as a reminder that the Charger wasn't going away. The 1980s brought another big shift when the Charger was transformed into a compact front-wheel drive hatchback. For many enthusiasts, this was the lowest point in the Charger's history. The muscle car DNA seemed lost, replaced by something completely different from what fans had come to love. But in a way, this era highlights the resilience of the Charger name. Even though it wasn't the fire-breathing V8 coupe anymore, Dodge refused to retire the badge. They knew the Charger was more than just a car. It was a brand identity and a connection to performance heritage that couldn't be erased. It was almost as if Dodge was waiting for the right time to bring the Charger back to glory, and that moment finally arrived in 2006. The 2006 Dodge Charger marked the rebirth of an icon. While it shocked many people by coming back as a four-door sedan rather than a two-door coupe, Dodge took a bold step and redefined what a modern muscle car could be. The design was aggressive, with sharp lines, a bold front fascia, and a stance that made it look ready to attack the road. It didn't matter that it had four doors. The Charger once again felt like a car that meant business. It was practical enough to be used as a family car, yet powerful enough to thrill enthusiasts. The reintroduction of the Hemi V8 was key. With the Charger RT and the high-performance SRT8 models, Dodge gave fans what they wanted, a muscle car for the new century. The 6.1-liter Hemi in the Charger SRT8 produced 425 horsepower, a direct nod to the legendary 426 Hemi of the past. This was no coincidence, it was Dodge's way of saying the Charger was back. The return of rear-wheel drive, big V8 engines, and bold styling restored faith in the Charger name. And as the years went on, Dodge kept pushing the boundaries further. By 2011, the Charger had been redesigned again, this time with even sharper looks and improved performance. The interior was also upgraded, giving drivers a more refined experience while keeping the raw muscle car spirit intact. But Dodge wasn't stopping there. The true revolution came with the introduction of the Hellcat. When Dodge unveiled the Charger SRT Hellcat in 2015, it sent shockwaves through the automotive world. Here was a full-size four-door sedan with a supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi V8 producing 707 horsepower. This was unheard of. No other sedan on the planet offered that kind of performance at a reasonable price. The Hellcat could run the quarter-mile in the low 11-second range, hit a top speed of over 200 miles per hour, and still take your family out to dinner comfortably. It completely redefined what a sedan could be and instantly became a legend. Enthusiasts loved it because it was unapologetically over the top, a car that wasn't built to please regulators or fit into neat categories but simply to thrill. The Charger Hellcat proved that Dodge wasn't just competing with other muscle cars, it was competing with European supercars, and in many cases, beating them at a fraction of the cost. Of course, Dodge didn't stop there. They introduced the Charger Hellcat Redeye, which cranked horsepower up to nearly 800, making it the most powerful production sedan in the world. This wasn't just a car, it was a statement that Dodge was at the top of its game when it came to raw performance. To put it simply, the Charger had gone from a fallen icon in the 80s to the king of the streets in the 21st century. Few cars have made such a dramatic comeback, and it shows the power of heritage combined with bold innovation. The Charger also has a strong presence outside of the showroom. Police departments across America adopted Chargers as patrol cars because of their mix of speed, durability, and presence. Seeing a Charger in your rearview mirror with flashing lights instantly demands respect and authority. This practical use in law enforcement further added to the Charger's image as a tough, no-nonsense machine. Meanwhile, in pop culture, the Charger continued its legendary run. In the Fast and Furious franchise, Dom Toretto's black 1970 Charger became one of the most recognizable cars in the world, symbolizing family, power, and street racing culture. The Charger's role in video games, TV shows, and even music videos ensures that it stays relevant with younger generations, keeping its legacy alive. What makes the Dodge Charger so special is that it has managed to capture the spirit of multiple eras without losing its identity. It has been a sleek fastback, a NASCAR hero, a symbol of the muscle car craze, a luxury cruiser, a compact hatchback, and now a world-beating sedan. Through all these transformations, the Charger name has always meant power, boldness, and individuality. It is a car that refuses to blend in, one that turns heads everywhere it goes. And that is why it continues to inspire such loyalty among fans. The Charger's influence on American car culture cannot be overstated. From the very beginning, it carried with it an aura of strength and dominance, and this reputation has only grown stronger over time. One of the reasons for this is the way Dodge has consistently marketed the Charger. Unlike many other sedans that try to focus on refinement, luxury, or subtle performance, the Charger is marketed as a bold, aggressive, unapologetic machine. Its looks alone make a statement. The wide stance, muscular body lines, and snarling front fascia immediately communicate that this is not a car meant for blending into the background. It has always been about standing out, about showing confidence and power. Even today, when you see a Charger pull up, it has road presence that few other cars can match, and that has helped cement its iconic status. Another major factor that keeps the Charger alive in people's hearts is the engine lineup. Dodge has kept the Charger exciting by offering a wide range of options to appeal to different buyers. On the entry-level side, the V6 engines provide reliability and efficiency while still giving a sporty feel. But for enthusiasts, the real magic lies in the V8 options. The Hemi name alone is legendary, and Dodge has made sure to keep it alive in the Charger. Whether it's the 5.7-liter in the RT, the 6.4-liter in the Scat Pack, or the 6.2-liter supercharged beast in the Hellcat, each version of the Charger delivers a level of performance that makes it feel special. This variety has been crucial in keeping the Charger relevant to both average drivers and hardcore enthusiasts alike. The Charger also plays an important role as one of the last remaining true muscle sedans on the market. Many of its competitors have either downsized, gone front-wheel drive, or disappeared entirely. Cars like the Chevrolet Impala and Ford Taurus are gone. Even the Chrysler 300, which shares its platform with the Charger, has been discontinued. That leaves the Charger standing almost alone in its class, a rear-wheel drive, V8-powered American sedan that offers an experience no other new car really can. This makes it more than just another vehicle, it makes it a symbol of resistance to the changing times. While the industry moves toward downsizing and electrification, the Charger remains one of the last loud, proud expressions of classic American muscle. In addition to this, the Charger has created a strong community of fans and owners. Car meets, online forums, and social media are filled with Charger enthusiasts who customize, race, and show off their cars. The aftermarket scene for the Charger is massive, with endless possibilities for performance upgrades, styling modifications, and personalization. This community aspect is vital because it keeps the Charger more than just a product, it makes it a culture. People identify with it, they build relationships around it, and they carry on the legacy by passing down stories of the Charger to new generations. This kind of following is rare and is one of the reasons why the Charger's name has endured through so many decades and design changes. Of course, we also have to acknowledge the Charger's darker side, and that's part of its charm as well. Its reputation as a street racer's dream car, combined with its role in movies and television, has given it an edge that appeals to people who see cars as more than just transportation. The Charger is often associated with speed, rebellion, and pushing limits. Thanks for watching.